Okay, we're gonna go ahead and get started. This is the 24th episode of the Chronicles of Telmora campaign.
Wait, that's all recorded?
No, I started just like a few seconds ago. No,
that's good.
You're all safe for now. Which means
Tess
I am safe for now. Shut up.
A kobold of a different scale color.
I hate all of you. Except Nasir. Nasir is innocent and free of hatred.
Green.
What did I do? Buck City, what did I do?
Mm-hmm. So my name is Liv. I am your GM. In our party that still hasn't decided on a permanent name yet, so their in the Discord is still the previous party's name. We have Rex, played by Connor.
Put forth curse-bound corsairs. I tried.
Sister, played by Shane.
Bomba.
Tess, played by Pyro.
Minecraft zombie noise.
I know enough about Minecraft to know that that's eerily accurate. And Icarus, played by Nasir. We do not have a Norvin right now for sure, possibly for all tonight. He did say that he would either be late or not here, but we still don't know which. So we're going to start without him because we're already a little late starting. But quick recap, our party traveled from Isethasari through the mountains, passing through Myrefall and Alderwick and then Herndine, and on the way between Herndine to the Frozen Tower, ventured into a cave and killed 2 direwolves, and then found their puppies. And now you have 4 direwolf puppies.
This is my friend now.
Yep.
So I think that's, we're gonna cut in as you approach on the tower. Put y'all over on the pretty tower picture.
Wow. Well, my number's in there. That was 69, though.
Sad.
210.
Oh, yeah.
You're close to 420. 42.
Gamers.
What's the thing about that number?
268s? Why, God? Why?
Got a 93 and 97 and 82. 2 97s. 2 duplicates. Fascinating.
Yes, the kobold ranger and her little animal companion.
Wow.
I think you better multi.
It's canon now.
You got a multi.
I don't got the wisdom of, unfortunately, or I would.
Ooh. 222. Below.
Nice.
Oh no, I was gonna say it's below us. But... Hey, twin Shane.
Oh.
I also got a 2.
Join us in our weird superstition. Oh, there he is. Womp.
Womp.
I scrolled up.
Nice.
I should probably open my sheet.
So y'all have approached the tower, and you have
blow up the
puppies.
tower. Destroy that tower.
I have 4 behind me, right?
Nope, you have 3.
Yeah.
I thought there were 5 and Tess had 1.
No, there are 4.
Gotcha.
4 total, one of which is definitely Tess's.
Gotcha. That's a small litter.
I've had these I've had this boy, this
litter.
good boy. I've had this boy for 2 minutes, but if anything ever happened to him, I'd kill everyone and then myself. This is my baby.
So anyways, with I'm not approaching it because I'm trying to think what they're gonna say. Like, hey, you got a bunch of direwolf puppies. Don't bring that in here. I'm trying to think of a way to like rationalize.
Keep their heads on their shoulders. Didn't we already save their? Isn't this the place where we saved the moon?
Yeah.
Well, then fucking let us in.
We haven't approached it yet.
Oh,
Como deal, Doc?
how well can I make a check to get the? I will ritual cast speak with animals,
Okay.
and then I will talk to the puppies, including Tessa's, and I will say, "Hey, listen up, eyes front.
Huh?
When we
Okay.
go in here, you gotta stay with us, okay?
Okay.
No going after anything. If you're hungry, I'll get it for you.
Okay.
Thirsty, I'll get you water.
Okay.
No wandering off, alright?
What's that?
What's what?
I
These
knew it.
things barely knew how to walk.
These things
man.
were born like
They were like,
maximum
I
a week
tried to
ago.
describe them. You know when kittens are in the triangle tail stage?
I gotcha. Then I will say, just make sure you stick with me, and I will pick them up in my arms. If they're that
Okay.
small, I'm sure I can have all three in one arm, probably.
Yeah, you're I was about to say you're strong, but they're not huge.
I gotta go. I will pick them up, and I will turn to Tess, and I'll say, "You good with watching after that one?"
Yeah.
All right. And I will walk up to the gate.
The guard recognizes you from last time, and starts to wave you through, and then goes, what do you got there?
Emotional support animals.
Make me a persuasion check. That's too good. Make me a persuasion check.
+0, baby.
Can I assist?
8.
Yes,
Oh.
you can.
I
Oh,
don't-
well.
I don't think it would help.
Rex was joking. Like, he was, like, being snide.
But what?
I know, but like, can you imagine you're trying to go into class and it's like the security officer at the building who's really there to make sure that you don't have like weapons or something brought into the building, and he sees you with 3 dogs and he goes, "What's that?" And you say, "Emotional support animal," just holding 3 of them.
Hold him close enough, you might think they're Cerberus.
And so he just, "Alright, but you're cleaning up after him." And waves you all in. He seems thoroughly amused. It was a very low DC because you made him laugh.
Hi, baby.
Yeah. He was like, "You know what? This will be funny. They were responsible enough before. They'll be fine." So he lets you into the tower. I don't have art for the inside of the tower, so this is just the generic, like,
Ooh.
You are here.
Are there signs posted on places to go?
Like, these rooms are this way kind of thing, or...
Yeah, like to the library.
Yeah, there's like little... There's basic stuff, yeah, because they would have signs for when newcomers come in.
So I will head straight to the library. And there's not a market or anything here, is there?
It's like the market on campus in a college.
So they probably don't have buckets of goat milk. Got it.
No, they don't. I can tell you that right now.
I go and I get in a fist fight with the lunch lady. I know you got the milk.
I will go to the library with the group. Unless one of them decides to go somewhere
Unless
else.
the rest of the group doesn't want to go to the library.
Well, that's what we're here for, isn't it, right, gang? Is to find out more about this ritual thing that happened?
I guess.
Yeah, I know why you're here, Tess. You got a puppy, and you're like,
I will
This
go
is-
wherever you tell me to. I have puppy.
Be a shame if somebody stole that puppy and punted him away for like half the campaign. Anyway,
The amount of bloodshed would far exceed thrice what Fractal could do.
Suddenly, a
Who's that?
Binturong shows up.
Who? Who said?
I've decided that's my version of the lemur.
No.
It's just a bear cat. The smell of buttered popcorn wafts by your nose.
I'm good.
Binturongs smell like buttered popcorn.
Okay.
it's gonna walk away with a bite out of it one way or another.
You don't want to know why they smell like buttered popcorn.
Piss.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, when we get to the library, is there a? I'd like to approach like a librarian of some years of service, not like a student aide.
Oh. I'm sorry. Mom sent me a picture of Gomez being very cute. Go ahead and... Well, would they have bat?
Well-
I don't think they'd have bat. I'm trying to remember what it was like finding the like professional library people in college.
You
'Cause
yell
they didn't
super loud. That they hear.
Look all that different from the people that were like library students or people that were just working there. Make a perception check.
Okay. $22.
Easy enough. I made a list of NPC names today, and so I have randomly determined which one is the librarian because I think it will be fun. You find a male Githzerai,
Why?
mage hand to get the high books down.
Hi there.
Hello.
I was hoping you could help me with a little inquiry, if you aren't too busy.
Very well. It's
You
not.
approach-
This is
You gotta
I was like, I don't know what other voice to do for a male Gith real quick. All right, I didn't think about voices.
do the
'cause I'm
Kronk
stupid.
voice. Really go against the.
Just do the Kronk. You know what? That's fun. No, he's not a librarian. Kronk is not a librarian. He wouldn't. Kronk would be the chef. And we all know it.
Okay, well, we go to the mess hall. We know who we're running into, guys.
Having
You
a fight
see-
on for goat milk.
I came across I've recently traveled with my companions here from the Tower of Tataris, where a
God bless.
tragedy had befallen them. And we found some evidence of the obelisk of Tataris. Tower of... Whatever it is. And
No, you said it
we
right. I
had
was
some...
making a joke.
And we were hoping we could find some information here to understand the magical ritual that went awry there. Would you have a perhaps, for starters, a room we could set up in, and perhaps in calling in a favor for us helping with the divine plague here, perhaps some assistance in deciphering what appears to be a connected plot?
He really quick mage hands over a large book that looks kind of like a booking ledger, and flips through some of the pages. Unfortunately, all of our private rooms are booked for the day, but we do have tables you can set up on.
This may be a multi-day thing. Is it booked up for tomorrow?
He flips a page. We are approaching finals season. So unfortunately, yes.
Is the group here with me?
Is the group here with him?
Icarus is at the very least.
Perfect. That's what I wanted.
Standing there, right behind you.
I look at Icarus with the pleaful eyes of "Help me." I, bureaucracy is not Rex's strong suit, and he is giving you a very strong look of help me worm our way in somewhere. Explain the importance of what we're doing.
I got it.
Do you pay tuition here? Do you study at this college? Do you have a student ID?
Does Bruno Mars is
Icarus
So-
will drop 50 gold to try and express reserve a room.
Unfortunately, our rooms are first come, first serve, and they do not get moved around for love nor money.
Now, I don't mean to undercut the importance of studies and these students' work. However, I feel like a couple of them could just buddy up. We're trying to unravel the plot that blighted the whole damn
Several
tower.
of them already are. Most of them that are using the rooms are there for group work.
What about rooms?
What?
Don't you have staff rooms? Can you have
We
let's have
have
one of those?
a staff room that is
No,
not for studying.
No, don't you have? Well,
What do you mean?
Are the books acceptable to be taken out of the library for a temporary time?
For a time, yes.
How
They
long
must
would
remain
that time
within the
be?
tower at large, but there's
How
no
long?
policy against it.
How long may we have the books out?
Our general policy is 1 week.
Okay, we'll just borrow the books, go back to the inn, read them there, then bring them back. Don't need a room directly in the library.
Very well.
I will go look for possibly relevant books.
That was the second half of my question, is if you could help us get these books from around the library and help us curate our search. Please.
I can assist with showing you where things are, but I do have my own responsibilities.
Do you have a guide on how to navigate a library? I've never really been in one.
Yes, for circumstances such as this, especially because our library has many esoteric volumes and unusual areas of reference and study, we do have a small pamphlet. He mage hands over a little, it's kind of like a small booklet, and basically has the Dewey Decimal System breakdown of the library. Of if you're looking in this section, this is what you will find. It has the two sections where it's if this is where you are, this is what you will find, and then the other section is, if you are looking for this, you will find it here.
Okay. I will follow Sister's lead because Rex's head is starting to hurt from bureaucracy and numbers and all that.
So, I imagine we have a few things to look into for the most part. Necromancy, deity rituals, forbidden rituals, at least anything around them.
Forbidden rituals are going to be a bit more difficult to find information on because they are forbidden, and as this is a mage's college, we don't want any of the students doing anything stupid, which they are
Well-
likely to do.
Not really how to do them, more of history of things that have happened.
That would be in the history section. Let me pull up the Dewey Decimal System breakdown. Because this will be fun. For me. And it'll also probably help. So if you're looking for, like, religion, or... Are you looking for the history of certain things, the practical application and, like, esoteric magic studies of certain things, or are you looking for, like, the religious aspect of it?
Just anything that gives me detail on who had been doing these things and the fallbacks and the... I just need all the details of what happened with it.
So okay, I'm also trying to recall if you, in character, uncovered what the actual ritual had been.
We found its components, and we knew that it took a lot of casters. We didn't know what the purpose was. That's
Okay, so you're looking for more, like, a generic breakdown text of, like, magical, like, large-scale magical rituals, or large-scale spells.
yes, and we figured out what some of the components were.
Yes, so that will help you narrow it down based on the large-scale spells. Okay, but you would basically be looking for a text on multi-caster spells, like, things on a large scale. Okay, yes, you can find something like that. Does that... What else in like generic, so that I can kind of give a basics of what books there would be?
That's the thread that Rex was going to start on, is examining, like, starting from the angle of this, like, platinum dragon scale and the multicaster ritual. Try and figure out what the spell was, if there was a spell known that they were trying to do, or if it was something new altogether. Or...
Mm-hmm. But what you're looking up is less so like how ingredients affect spells and how to create new spells. You're looking for more of, we know that this had a lot of casters and would have affected things on a large scale, so I'm looking at large scale spells.
Yeah.
Okay. If that makes sense as to what I'm trying to get information on.
Yeah, I mean, there's not many spells that Rex knows of that can level a tower like an established settlement like that so
right,
quickly.
but it's also, it depends, like, the type of book that you're finding is if you're looking for, like, what ingredients can do what, and if that was what you were trying to use to get to the puzzle piece, that's going to be a different book.
Nope.
If that is being communicated.
Starting with
effectively
rituals,
on
using the
my end.
materials to narrow it down.
I'm just making sure I'm communicating what information I need efficiently. Shane is typing and not typing. I almost said niping. That's...
A snipe!
This is the point where the DM goes to her actual library and comes back and says, "I didn't have anything on spells, guys."
No, I have the Dewey Decimal System pulled up because it gives me a good overview of like where the categories are separated.
Okay.
Especially if I'm separating it in that little pamphlet based on like sections where I can be like, okay, if you're looking for historical works, then you can go and look and they'll all be in this general section. But if you're looking for like a textbook, like scientific style text, it'll be in a different section. And so you can like divide and conquer type stuff of go down this aisle in the grocery store.
What's our intelligence score, guys?
Here's
Like
the way that I broke this up so that we can all have something to search for.
Yes. Oh, this is perfect. Thank you. Copy pasting this. Rex multicaster rituals and components. History forbidden. Okay. So I'm going to start making a little list for myself.
We also identified. Never mind. You're already on that thread.
Huh?
If you want to make a list of what specifically you in character identified, because like my problem as the DM is I'm remembering out of character that you discovered it was Karsus's avatar, which is wonderful, but I don't remember what in character you know.
We don't know his fucking Karsus' avatar. We know that these rituals have been draining gods, and whatever happened at the obelisk was an attempt to do that even more so, and it was targeted at the abyss, or the abyssal dragon, or whatever,
That's my game.
because it had a symbol all over it.
That is doom. The chained oblivion.
But they
Atlas.
failed, and it blew up. As I know that it is Karthus' avatar,
Right.
I'm not sure what the fuck was
Arthas
happening to the other.
avatar? You league brain rot son of a bitch.
Said Karthus.
You said Karthus.
You did say
Maybe I bit my tongue.
Oh, I heard Karsus's, so.
Pyro can confirm, and the recording will show you said Karthus' avatar.
The recording might
Whatever.
not show it because the recording is being filtered through my headphones, and what I heard is Karsus. So I don't know.
The carpet avatar.
Have you ever had a
Regardless,
processing issue?
regardless, if Ding Dong was trying to do Karthus' avatar
Ding dong.
Ding dong.
against Tharizdun, I still don't know what the fuck she was doing to the rest of them. Because they were still getting drained of their strength and summoning these fucking abhorrent creatures. That's not what Karthus' avatar does. So, need to find out what the fuck that was.
While y'all are discussing that, I'm coming up with titles of the books.
I also need Tess to look into a history of conflicts against the divine. Any sort of aspect on how they fought against divine entities.
Give that to Rex instead. The
Why?
temple I lived in was pretty old. I might have a lower DC or advantage on ancient divine history. Or don't. I'm not.
People at your temple fight gods.
No, it was just me at this
There was
abandoned
like
temple.
there was no people at him temple.
Yeah, there was history on the walls though that I learned about, like visiting
Hey,
with
Liv,
you.
Yeah.
would Tess know anything about if there was any correlation between the Archfey and this whole debacle?
elaborate for the DM.
Well, if we're looking to things where we might know based on our past experiences, hearing maybe I could have heard things here or there from Fae that may have been actually there because they're old as shit.
Oh, that's
Actually, there when
When shit went down, yeah.
like the isolation
history happened.
happened.
Yeah.
When history happened, like, why read the book when I go, hey, this guy, I killed him, or I saw a boss kill him, or etc. etc. Like that.
But which
Yeah.
specific part of history are you?
What we're looking for. Well, specifically for me, the like for forbidden magics, and I'll kind of zero in on whether people have really been stupid enough to try and get power before, like, I don't know, carve systems after.
Okay, I'll make a note of that.
They're gonna want something from you, buddy.
That's why I'm asking before I go looking for deals. Like, if I've heard shit just out of offhand.
I don't think any of the Fae that were there before the isolation are gonna just hit you up randomly.
He's saying, like, in his like hundreds of years of service to his patron.
Has he
Maybe
met
I
them
might have
already
picked
and
up a
heard drinking
Or
stories?
if they were meeting with Mab, who is a bit more of a high station than me, just a little bit.
Just
Maybe
like
if she
one
heard
step
something,
on the ladder.
I just happened to be
Literally
in the vicinity, and I'm just trying to get involved.
Yeah.
Her hands
No,
were the
I get
blood
what you're at.
of
You're
thousands of
asking if
children.
you've heard, not like, can I call them and ask them a question?
No,
You're
like,
saying, have I overheard drinking stories in the past that I can try to remember?
Yeah.
I got you. I have that written on your
Essentially.
notes. I'm just also trying to come up with everybody's book titles.
Right.
Now, sister, when you say research of divines, can you be more specific? Because otherwise you're going to get, like, A is for Azoth and other gods.
People's research into gods and how they work. Like any sort of study on how divine beings function.
Like,
Well, this is Jesus.
like domains or
The beings themselves, like rules that they go by as being outsiders, things like that.
okay.
So the divines themselves, not their domains, not what they stand for and their principles. Like research on, we're talking like someone fucking summoned a celestial and dissected it. That kind of research. Like their actual function and being rather than the other stuff.
But
You don't have
not
access to any kind of commune spell yet, do you?
I'm level 6.
But not necessarily
Mm-hmm.
like the creator deities. You're talking about like just celestial. I'm struggling to understand this one. Sorry.
Any sort of celestial or deity, if I can find. I'm sure no one summoned the god of the moon and then ripped her toenail off.
No.
I should be too strong. Rah!
Any sort of research into beings of the same nature.
Okay.
Because I have to find out how they work to know how they're being targeted by stuff.
Okay.
Just a video of how it's made, but it's just assembling a
Basically.
celestial.
Okay.
How it's made, ripping the fucking god apart and turning them into ashen.
Sister just sitting there watching, taking notes.
Interesting episode this time. I got a factory big enough.
Inexplicably, everybody who watches it just starts to nod off. I also have secondary interests once we get through this first
Yeah.
topic, like Icarus.
Well, let me know what it is so I can start writing book titles. Because I don't want to be like, you find a book on
moon.
this. I want to at least be able to say, hey, this is the name of the book. It's
You
more
don't
fun
have
that
to have
way.
a book name. Lycanthropy, the moon, his temple. Like, he has a lot of... I have a lot. And I don't want you to
But it's
spend
not
half
like,
an hour.
I'm looking for a book on this.
He's
I
gonna
do.
gather them all, and I'm gonna sneeze. He's gonna send a fireball and blow him up.
Mm.
Scorch all of the books.
It's like the ultimate dad sneeze.
Now it's even funnier because Sister has like the cute little squeak sneeze, but her fucking divine apparatus just sparks and shoots a fireball.
How'd you even sneeze? You're a warforged.
Hee
Dustin her fans.
divine flaw.
Okay. I have book titles. Is there anything? So, Rex, you're looking for multicaster rituals and components.
To start. Yes.
Tess is looking for the history of forbidden magics.
Yeah.
Icarus is looking for higher level necromancy and curses / curse breaking.
Yep.
Sister is looking into research of divines, which is like, how do celestials work. Biologically?
Bone.
Yeah, I guess. Like, how does their blood work? How do they get their power? I don't know. I'm figuring that one out. We'll probably have a big question session during when that book comes out. Who would like to go first?
Tess.
Tess?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. So, the book that you find that you basically get pointed towards, I'm not gonna have you guys, I'll say that more or less you're able to help each other find all of the books enough where you wouldn't need checks to look for them. Looking through them and finding specific information or piecing the puzzle pieces together might be a different thing. But, Tess, the book that you find, or that all of you find for you, is called Folly of the Ancients.
Kind of metal.
What
I
about
pick it up.
metal?
I said that's kind of metal.
Oh, that's kind of metal. I cannot hear today. Jesus Christ, I'm turning my headphones up. Nope, that's down. There we go.
Fucking made it.
Hello?
Hello.
Hi.
Hello?
Hello.
Hi.
God damn this thing. 1 second. Voice and video. Microphone. Headphones. Ugh. Oh! Hello? Nope. I hate these headphones sometimes.
Focus
Oh,
on like
good
another
lord. My headphones
Chronicles and
popped
Telmora.
out entirely for like 5 minutes. I don't know what that was.
Damn.
The last thing I heard was when you said, that's kind of metal, and I said, wow, I can't hear. I'm going to turn my headphones up. And then they just stopped working. So if you said anything to me after that, I don't know what it is.
Nope.
Did
All
messing
right.
with that mess with the audio? And the
I guess maybe, but
No.
all I did was hit the volume button. I don't
No.
know, weird. And it popped back in without me having to do anything, so strange. Okay. As you are flipping through the book, what are you looking for? In a book called Folly of the Ancients, what would Tess give me some code words or phrases she would be scanning for?
Shit. Fuck that. Tess is going to look for, let's see. Keyword ancients. Maybe Fae. There we go.
Okay.
This would be a hilarious opportunity for Tessa's ADHD to kick in, and she just ends up looking up like,
You know, I got on a thread and now I'm learning the history of earthworms.
Tess going on a wiki binge. If I had to pick one, what was the area we were called down by the tower?
The obelisk of Dataris?
Yeah, keyword obelisk, keyword definitely, ancients, I guess, and then Fae, just because Tess is curious how badass her boss is.
You don't see Dataris in there anywhere.
No.
Ancients is going to be kind of scattered throughout because this is about the ancients. So yeah, you do hear a lot of stuff about especially powerful magic users before the isolation. When connection to the Weave and Mistra was a bit more powerful because she had not yet placed herself beyond the Divine Gate. So things were able to... there wasn't a cap on the soda bottle, I guess. So you could just pop the Mentos in and things could
This
explode.
is soda.
Yeah, exactly. It wasn't always good, what heights could be reached because there was no ceiling, and so it a lot of times, a lot of the follies that you're seeing are, especially the ones that are connected to the Fae specifically, is it, there's two types of follies of the ancients that are linked with the Fae. There's the kind where it involves the human trying to make some sort of bargain with the Fae for power. We all know how those end. Never in favor of the mortal. I should refrain from saying human because many races, but
What
never
do you
in
mean?
favor of the mortal.
What do you mean? Boss has done nothing but be kind to me.
Well, this is also a much larger scale
Well,
deal.
you're right. I'm not mortal. I'm a dragon.
Right. Bad news, dragons are still mortal on a massive scale.
Just very slowly.
Yeah, they're mortal in the way that sequoias and redwoods are mortal.
Fake news.
So this is also on a much, much larger scale. So you're looking at this going, well, I didn't ask for that. I didn't ask for incredible cosmic power. This is shit like Jafar asking Genie to make him an all-powerful genie. It's that kind of deal where you're gonna have those kinds of drawbacks that the Fae did not realize. So it's those kinds of follies where it's usually shame on them, they should have known better. And the other type is more so that it's not that the mortals are bargaining with the Fae themselves, as in a powerful Fae entity, but more so that the mortals are trying to, in some way, either acclimate themselves to the Feywild so that they could extend their lifespan or their power abilities that way, or siphon energy from the Feywild itself to increase their power.
I can eat Fae.
Well, it also... this is a book of the follies of the ancients. This is not a book of successes or triumphs. This is a cautionary book. So these magics are forbidden for a reason, usually because they pose significant risk either to the caster, the area around the caster, which usually also includes the caster, or existence as a whole. For the most part,
like
there's
that
some sort of significant risk.
thing.
So most of these people that are trying to absorb power from the Feywild, or basically to use the Feywild itself for their gain, usually end up becoming either some sort of creature that is then bound in the Feywild, some of whom are sentient, some of whom are not, depending on how they try to siphon the thing, or they basically burn themselves out.
Can't believe it's not Jabberwocky.
Yeah. You do know about a Jabberwocky.
Yeah, fucking scary. So what I think I can find out is, if this is like the obelisk thingy, then they were trying to suck off the abyss and get its power.
Tess looks in the general direction of the party.
I was gonna say, I'm assuming we're all at the same table, or at least nearby.
Tess is wearing
If you would like to have been,
obnoxiously large
yes.
glasses.
Yeah. Rex is definitely a group study guy, not an individual study guy.
Study.
When Tess says this, he'll respond with a, "This seems interesting. Good find. Keep pulling on that thread." He is.
I'm not wearing threads.
Keep reading. Go deeper into it.
No, actually, hang on. No, I am wearing my scarf.
When you get to this type of point where you're sharing insights with the rest of your party, if the party has things where it's like, have you looked for this? You can offer that insight to your party member. Whether or not they then choose to take it, which I feel like would probably only be Tess. Because she doesn't understand gentle suggestions. It's the tism, and we love that about her. You know, if you wanted to suggest of like, hey, my character is thinking of it this way, try looking for that, you might be able to get them secondary information on a second pass through.
Okay.
But again, that's if your party suggests it, and if your character decides to look for that keyword.
Well, we kind of have to go through our checks first before we can say in character look
Hey!
for something.
Hey, Icarus, what did you find?
Okay. Icarus, which book
Indeed.
are you looking at first? Curses or Necromancy?
Icarus would look for necromancy first. He's gonna want to research on the curses a little bit longer.
All right. So the book for Necromancy is Advanced Necromantic Techniques. The majority of the book is going to be higher level necromancy spells, so like 5th level and above is the majority of it. And then in the back there are some older research that hasn't been... I would imagine that it's the wizard equivalent of like unsolved math proofs. Like what are those millennium problems? Kind of shit like that. Of like, wizards tried to experiment with this, and the results were mixed, so nothing ever got confirmed enough to be standardized into a spell. Because there was no... the wizards couldn't make a formula for it, a consistent formula for it to transcribe into a spell book and make permanent. So it's sort of more like, well, this might have happened. In the back, since this one is more of just a generic, like, textbook, there are a couple sections in the back, like, Millennium Problem section. One of them is... a couple of them are different types of, like, summoning or creating undead. That seem to just be, like, different types of undead, like create white or create ghoul kind of thing.
Why do they have you white?
There's a couple of different methods of controlling undead. There's a few mentions of necromancy for the necromancer, as in like using it on yourself. And then there's a few sections of like different uses for the undead. Basically, like, normally my undead can do A or B. I want them to do F.
Okay.
Are any of those catching your eye?
I guess I'll look at the different types of undead and look for like Ashen. And then while I'm glazing through that, if I can find anything on Divine Oriented and Remote Casted.
Okay. remote casting brings you to different methods of control. And it almost seems as though there's an option for it, like transporting them in a way. Almost like sending them like a virus in an email, but through the weave. But then they
Okay.
pop out fully formed at a location. You see something about an ash zombie, but it doesn't quite seem the same as what you've encountered. The Ashen, you're not finding a lot of. You're not finding stuff that you feel like describes what you've come across. There are things where you're like, well, I mean, this is kind of similar, but not quite to where you don't feel super confident about that. Also in the category of new undead is essentially undead created from divine places of energy. Like, especially in Before the Isolation, if a celestial was struck down on a place, it was almost hallowed. And then if a powerful necromancer like raised undead there or made an undead out of the celestial's body with perverted rituals and different things like that, then that's a different type of undead, and that one seems a bit more familiar. It seems more, when you compare the memories that you have of facing the Ashen that you faced side by side with these descriptions of essentially holy undead, the Ashen seem more hollow.
Okay.
Which connects in your head with the, like, almost them being transmitted like a virus on the weave, sort of. That you think that might be why they're not as substantive, I think is the word I'm pulling for. They're not as robust. Or maybe they were spread thinner, like one holy thing was used to make a big massive batch and so they got diluted. But you feel like there's something, that pull of divine magic or power being used to create undead feels like you're on the right track.
Okay.
Did I cover everything or did I miss anything?
I think you got all my phrases and words.
Cool, because I don't always remember things. Alright. Do you share any of this with your party?
I will.
Yes.
I will turn to my party and be like, I feel like that there was some sort of like holy but unholy ritual derived of necromancy that created some kind of undead, and that they were remote sent through the weave to these holy places that we've been traveling to.
It makes sense.
Who's next?
I can go.
Alright. So you have spellcraft on a large scale or spell components. Which are you looking at?
The first.
Spellcraft on a large scale. So you see a lot of things that are like, I feel like I bring to mind the earthquake spell or meteor swarm, things that affect space on a massive scale. Something like that, where there's a section that's magic that takes up a lot of space, things like that. Then there are spells that have a lot of like material components. Basically, like, these are the biggest area, these are the most powerful damage-wise spells, these are the most expensive spells, these are the longest spells to cast. Like, this takes a lot of time, different things like that. And then you get to things with multiple casters. There are some things where it talks about, like, hey, it's easier to do these things in conjunction. Like, if you have someone, summon a demon or a celestial, and then you have someone else ready to cast planar binding on it. Something like that. But then you find a few things that are essentially multiple spellcasters casting one spell together.
Mm-hmm.
And you see things like higher level spells that you have heard of that exist, like a few wizards that will cast Time Stop all at once so that they can work on something together and the duration is doubled or things like that. And then you're getting to higher levels, as in pushing past the boundary of normal spell casting, which ends at 9th. For lack of a better term. You have things like a spell that causes lethal gusts of wind that is on a massive scale, changing the weather patterns for an entire world. Doing things like ascending to lichdom, things like that. Also called epic level spells. I'm trying to find
Cataclysm spells.
Yeah, cataclysm spells. I actually really like that. I might steal that. Sorry about it. Things about anti-magic. There's some anti-magic spells, or a perpetual everlasting winter. Different things like that. You could change history. And then you start looking at, okay, I'm going to narrow this down based on number of casters. I know we had to have had... You're looking for like 10 and up. You're looking for double digits. So things that you see with double digits: Supernova, Alter History, Blood of Mirrors, Immortality, Wrath of the Ancients, Ascension, Eternal Blight, Extreme Wish, Karsus' Avatar, Plane Spark, True Time Stop. Because player knowledge does exist, and it's impossible not to use it.
Yeah,
Karsus'
I was about to ask.
obviously sparks your attention. Are there any other spells that would also spark
Ascension.
Rex's attention?
Ascension.
Okay. I will open the pages on both of those. And I will do
Can I
them in
have the names
alphabetical
again?
order because I like it.
Yeah.
So Ascension is a 12th level transmutation ritual. Casting time of 8 hours. The material component is a drop of blood from a god, and it requires 20 casters. that are clerics of at least 10th level.
Okay.
Well, first of all, this spell is flawed because it doesn't say how you specify who the person that ascends is, but if it ever becomes relevant in my game, I'll fix that. But basically, the primary caster, because there's something further down that says all secondary casters involved in this spell die after it is cast, and the changes to you are permanent. So the primary caster gains an additional amount of HP. I love that. Base statistics increase. Proficiency bonus increases. You gain truce. I'm obfuscating some of the bigger details. You gain true sight. There's a benefit for spell slots. You gain damage resistances and immunities and condition immunities. You have a flying speed with wings, and there's additional damage, different things like that.
And also hear Wrath of the Ancients.
Wrath of the Ancients, yes. I'll do that one and then Karsus' avatar, because we like that one. Alright, Wrath of the Ancients. Shut the fuck up out there! Wrath of the Ancients is an 11th level evocation. It's also a ritual. Casting time of 3 hours. You only need 10 casters for this one. For the components, you need a brazier made from obsidian, at least 5 feet tall and worth 500 gold. Ashes from the world's largest volcano, and amber with pieces of ancient creatures trapped inside, collectively worth at least 3,000 gold. The range for this one is also a continent. After the ritual is complete, the caster may cause an extinction event of their choosing. All creatures within range will die. They may also bring back extinct species or bring about new ones through rapid evolution. Any area or individual of the caster's choice may be excluded. The caster is automatically protected from the effects of this spell. So, wild. And then we get to, of course, Karsus' avatar. There are numerous warnings around this and things that look to have been redacted. You know that it is a 12th level transmutation. You see that the material components, it's scratched out at the beginning, like redacted at the beginning, and you see Hydra Bile to enchant a platinum dragon scale worth 1 million gold. You see that it requires 16 casters. And this is, and I'll type it out later with the redactions, but this is what you read from the description of the spell. Choose a god and name it. The primary caster takes on the full power, features, abilities, and spells of that god. Redacted. However, once the spell is complete, any and all aspects of reality the chosen god managed, redacted. This lasts until the primary caster uses their newfound power, redacted. So for the effects of the people that know D&D, I will type out in the spell format that we're all used to what is redacted.
I will eagerly show Sister that the things I find.
You show her Wrath of the Ancients.
No. Well,
What?
he kind of offhandedly mentions like, oh, there's apparently a spell to like people wiped out a continental life and brought back dinosaurs. Yeah, Harka, I don't know if you know, but I'm not exactly 10 casters of incredible arcane power. I also don't have a death wish for an entire continent. So anyways, uh,
Ah,
this last one though, Karsa's Avatar, seems like... Yes, I know you're making it clear, Harka. Can I get to my point? Thank you. It seems like it's very similar to the one we saw at the Tower of Taurus.
Hmm.
The number of casters, the Platinum Dragon scale, although, shit, I didn't realize it was worth that much. The Platinum Dragon scale flake I have is still there, right?
yes, you still have it.
I was making sure it didn't, like, disintegrate or
No.
whatever. Rex will periodically check that, just in case, like... this seems like a very strong spell. If the material component has to be remade or something, hopefully the little fleck he has counts as, like, a little timer for it. Like, oh, they have to go remake their thing, or
Okay.
yada yada.
I believe that is exactly how I redacted things as well.
Cool. I will also take a little piece of paper, write that down, I copy it out of the book, and I will give it to Sister for safekeeping. I tend to wallow through things, and a piece of paper with ink is probably not the safest on me.
Sister will take that piece of paper, fold it up, and put it into her
Okay,
cookbook.
I'm back.
Welcome back.
Put it straight into the fiery heart, Sister. Just incinerate it. Thank you,
I
Rex.
said
I was getting chilly.
cookbook, but
I know. I'm doing a little bit of trolling.
a little bit of trolling.
Mild amount of tomfoolery. I think I found what I was looking for in my section. If you want to jump over to Sister, and then we can circle back
Okay.
to...
I'm just making
else.
notes about what you guys have found so far. One second. Okay. Sister,
Yes.
what are you looking at? What book are you looking at first? Are you looking at something that's like the gods, or something that's more like celestials and infernals?
I'll keep it simple with going straight for Celestials and seeing if there's any connection to the higher ups from there.
Okay. So in the book Celestials and Infernals, because if you're gonna talk about one, they kind of gotta study the other one a little bit. You know that they're creatures from the upper planes. They typically have a lot of good defensive capabilities, as well as healing capabilities. They're typically viewed as good, benevolent types of creatures. That are... not all of them are directly connected to the gods. There are some that just are kind of byproducts of the realms that the gods inhabit, like unicorns and pegasi. So rather than being like a solar or an empyrean that are directly servants of one of the creator deities that reside in Mount Celestia or those types of planes, they just kind of are the flora and fauna of that area. They seem to draw their power from the divine planes of existence. So, let me look at my little cosmology thing on my world anvil right quick. deities and religions, I think is where it is, or it could be in the Atlas. I'm not entirely sure. Probably in the Atlas. Plains. Plains. Where's the plains? The upper plains, that's what I want. So the upper plains in general, where you're gonna have like Mount Celestia, Bitopia, Elysium, those types of places where you're gonna have celestial creatures. That seems to be where their power draws from. But since they are not... It discusses a little bit the Divine Gate and the isolation, and how Celestials are a bit... They have a bit more leeway to intervene with mortals than the creators, because they themselves are not all-powerful. They're not on the same scale of power as the creators, and so they are allowed to have more leniency. Those that are from the upper planes, Celestials, do have a bit more rules than, say, devils or demons that are kind of, hey, fuck around and find out. But they are not as restricted as any of the deities. Is there anything else that I can answer? So I don't know if I've given you what you're looking for. But also with this one, I gotta be real with you, I'm still not entirely sure what you as the player are looking for.
Sister's trying to see if there's anything special about these creatures, the outsiders, to see if there's any connection that might be between them and how spells affect them. Like any sort of resistances. And
When
like
you
if
say
certain spells work on
outsiders, do
them.
you mean any sort of...
Mostly celestial, because they're typically the closest.
Okay, so you're
divines.
looking for more stats stuff.
Yes.
Like, in general, what are their resistances and stuff like that. That I can find. Give me one moment to pull that up. That I should be able to pull out of the monster manual. From the section on Celestials.
She mostly wants to find if people have found like any sort of weaknesses about them or any sort of resistances they have, like...
Right. Yeah, different things like that. You know that almost unerringly, Celestials are resistant to, if not immune to, radiant damage. In a similar vein where a lot of, like, undead, demonic aligned thing, well, not demonic, but like, where infernal things have a lot of resistance to fire. Divine things typically have resistance to radiant. A lot of them will have resistance to non-magical damage because they are inherently magical.
How do they do against necrotic?
Some of them are immune, but not all. If they are going to have some sort of effect with it one way or another, it seems to be that they are either immune to it or it does regular damage. The more powerful ones have immunity. You know, for the most part, Celestials cannot be charmed or frightened or exhausted, and that they are telepathic. They can speak all languages, but they also are telepathic. there's some concrete information I can give. Anything else?
They're this resistant to everything. And how the fuck have they been getting gimped so hard? Is there anyone who did any sort of combat research?
I don't think so.
Shit. Oh well. I guess also look into any other conflicts other than the great one that gods have participated in and been actively wounded in.
So, the the wounding of Ayun is the only, like, major one that has remained. There have been times when it's been like, oh, they've gotten bruised or they've taken a hit that'll, that they can... They've been wounded before in ways that they could heal. The wounding of Ayun was unique in that it was something that could not be healed, period. Except, hopefully, by time. Huh?
Any wounds, any injuries, any damage that they sustained is important because
Typically, if they have sustained damage, it has been directly because, like, Neuvactus got damaged because Elkyra hit her. Or vice
Other way
versa.
around.
Whatever it was, I wasn't there.
So
Something like
it's
that. But if
typically another
Srickage
god.
hit Neuvactus, it's not gonna do a lot of shit, you know?
Okay.
You feel? It's
Yeah.
usually gonna be god on god crime. If they're
Okay,
gonna
so
get
typically-
wounded. Otherwise, it's gonna be an ant bite.
So, unless someone's Karsus Avatar, apparently.
That
So
is
there's
a
no-
very
been no-
specific...
There's no other history of people shorthanding gods or
There are
damaging
people
them
that have
or
tried.
disabling them.
There are people that have tried. It was more common to try before the isolation when gods were, 2 doors down rather than on another planet, or on another plane of existence. There were people that tried. Solo casters inevitably got bodied. Larger groups of casters, would at least be the equivalent of, like, depending on what it was, there are some groups that were the equivalent of a hornet's nest, where they're an actual problem and they need to get dealt with, but you're probably not going to die unless you fuck it up. And then there are some that were more deadly predators, where the gods actually had to take preventative measures and, like, this is going to go badly if it doesn't get dealt with now. But they got dealt with. This
Okay,
also,
what
you're
kind of
seeing
what
might
kind
have...
of things were those?
Usually, it was casters messing around with magic that was very volatile and untested by mortals, and the gods, through... The book implies, because the book doesn't know for sure, the book implies that it was probably like, well, gods know everything, so they must have seen the future, but then there's also footnotes where it's like, or the gods sense things in a different way than mortals do, and so they, similar to how animals sense an earthquake before humans do, so they can get out of the way. They could have been like, oh, there's a volcano about to erupt, I need to stop it. They could have sensed a group of casters preparing to cast Wrath of the Ancients and stopped them from wiping out life on an entire continent as it's being done. Sometimes it's typically before isolation. It's going to be things like that. Sometimes it's things that, most of it was people that are less striking out at the god directly and more trying to hit them where it hurts by affecting their domains or their faithful. Back when that had a more immediate effect on the god. If that makes sense.
Yes. Hmm. Historically, I suppose I'd move to the history section for this one. Historically, has there been certain factions or cults or anything like that that have been in any sort of way successful in combating against gods or strong celestials or even strong infernals and devil lords or anything?
So for the strong celestials infernals, it's usually the success is to ally with someone from the opposition. So if you're facing a very strong infernal, try to get some sort of celestial or celestial power on your side, whether that's a weapon or a spell or an actual celestial creature like a Solar or an Empyrean, because they're usually going to be pretty strong. You want to pit the, you want to put the water type Pokemon against the rock type, different things like that. For the actual gods, you do read about a group of casters that attempted to usurp a god, and caused a brief period of what scholars believed would be the end of the world, until balance was restored. It doesn't exactly say how, but basically balance was restored, and it sounds like most of the casters died.
Okay. Say that last one again. I was writing. Think about who's causing the end of the world and how.
Group of casters tried to usurp the power of a god. That led to a severe imbalance that many believed would be the end of the world. But balance was restored and the casters were killed. You can also write died. It will work either way.
And there's no information on who those casters were.
No,
They had a
it seems
faction
that
name or
their
anything.
reward for their hubris was to die in obscurity.
That doesn't fucking help me in the future when someone's doing the same shit, does it? Motherfuckers.
History forgotten is history repeated.
Mm-hmm.
Yup. Bastards.
Nerd!
Mm,
Oh, the stickers came up for sale.
If he gets pissed enough, it just jumps out.
as she was explaining that casters keep causing problems and gods defeat them, I was gonna
Armadillos
come
keep
in.
digging.
He's gonna
The
come in
whole
with fucking
messy
Kagaz voice.
backyard.
Well, that's the problem. They keep using magic. Fucking throws an axe at a god like.
Okay, but the really funny thing is, you know what Kagaz's runes are? Magic.
Yeah,
No, that's raw power.
yeah, but the runes aren't what he's fucking beating you to death with. The runes
What I'm
are
hearing is
just
we need to
magic
get
he's fooling
Kagaz.
around with.
We need to get Kagaz an Empyrean bone axe so he
You
can
know
chop
what the
up a god.
Thunder's roar was? Magic.
But it's the man behind the beatdown.
Imperial lies. I believe in Kagaz martial superiority.
My mouse.
Just as
is
long as
moved
it's not a
for
human,
some
huh?
reason.
Yes, entirely.
Hold on,
Well-
I forgot to turn off my tablet screen and the pen was laying on it, so it kept abducting my mouse.
H. It just keeps typing, but one letter.
Yeah,
Okay.
girls didn't really need to worry about magic.
Um,
I was just over here being spooky.
Gods, sensing calamities, different ways. Typically
Trigger word.
target domains and faithfuls. Okay.
Calamity.
Trigger warning. TW. Spooks.
Who have we gone through already? We started with
Everybody.
Tess, right?
We
Everyone.
started
me.
with we went through to Tess, Icarus, Rex, and then Sister.
Arca, what are you?
All right.
He said he
And
was
one fish,
reading
two
books
fish.
about brewing mead. It involves honey,
It's
sometimes
just blue.
Honey?
fruit.
Take honey and yeast, and water, let it ferment.
Sometimes you can put fruit in there.
Ooh.
Rex probably could figure out how to make good mead. I mean, he kind of does. Like it's. Anyway.
Sister's going to try to find any books that might be about summoning or conjured creatures to see if there's anything that might have any sort of recollection to the Ashen or the fucking foul creatures that keep spawning from these gods.
I mean, you did. So Icarus did find some information on that. I don't know if you recall, but Icarus did find some information on that.
Okay.
I'm
If
not.
he wrote it down, we'll
I'm not
just
sure
do
when
it.
you guys go AFK sometimes.
Sorry.
No, you're good.
Yeah.
Okay. Did you write this stuff down? Icarus?
Yeah, it was basically like divine oriented necromancy, where they took like a divine's body or something and used necrotic magic on it to create undead. And it seemed like they were transporting that through the weave somehow from one location to the next.
So it wasn't being formed from the gods that were being wrecked at the time. They were being transported to them through
Yes.
the weave. Okay.
And adding on to that, from what I read,
No, but Dariel sure is reading that book.
well, Norman, you've seen the movie Robots.
Fat ass.
From what I read, shit, it's leaving me. We were just talking about them the reason I think they were transported through the weave, is based on what you read, Sister, about them the gods having like a preternatural sense of being able to sense when things go wrong. I think the Ashen curse was to put some blinders on the divine to avoid a bunch of paladins and clerics rolling up to the ritual site as they were preparing for it. That's my guess, is that they were doing that as they were approaching their day to perform the ritual while they were gathering the resources to keep it shrouded from divine eyes. And
Don't know if that's true, but I'm sure the DM's still in it.
probably.
I have
Yeah.
my reasons.
Joke's
of
on you,
why
I'm
things
stealing it
happen.
from my game.
Listen, if we've learned anything from Matthew Mercer, Abria Iyengar, and Brennan Lee Mulligan, it's that one of your friends does something you go, ooh, yoink. And it makes everyone's games better.
Thanks, Connor.
You're welcome. I do it to Fergus enough to where I feel like I'm owed to give it out to some people. So I think we have a pretty strong understanding of what happened there now. I think actually explicitly everything out of character we now know in character.
Yeah, just about. You don't have all the specifics on Karsus' avatar, but meh.
No, but we have what we need.
More or less.
I has. How late in the day is it on Telmora?
This probably overall, since you're all doing this together, I would say it probably would have taken you about 2 hours of reading independently to get this information, and then you probably would have spent about an hour sharing your findings with everybody.
Okay.
I'd say at this point it's probably like like mid-afternoon, like 2-3 o'clock.
Awesome. I have more things I'm going to start researching then.
Okay.
Number 1, Neame.
Yeah. Number 2,
That's the moon for the uncultured ones in the room.
just in case you didn't know anything.
Yep.
What's that giant cannon pointed to the moon with a rat on it?
Oh, no.
What's that, Rex? Your mom's gonna stop talking to you if you're not a lycanthrope?
How
Icarus
many-
would like to find one of the librarians again,
Yes.
and he is going to ask how much would it cost if I damaged a book and had to replace it.
That depends on the book.
He's going to show the book of curses and how to break them.
What are you planning on doing?
And a more intelligent question: how much would it cost to have a book reproduced, or
That,
a small section of a book?
that one, thankfully, is less of an esoteric tome, and so it is somewhat easier to replace, but not ideal. Why?
I would like it.
Tiny little Icarus looking up at this tall, lithe, Squidward ass Githzerai man. How earnest do you look right now? Just paint me a picture of how Icarus looks right now.
The funny answer would be he's like doing the little foot shake thing behind his back. But the legit answer is he's just standing there deadpan looking at him.
Just deadpan vibes, just like, I want this book.
Yes.
Roll me a persuasion check.
Intimidation either?
Well, he's not trying to intimidate him by saying, I'm going to take it. He's saying, I want it, give it to me, let me have it somehow. 17. 17 is very good. 75 gold.
I will give him 85 just because I really want it and that's how much it is worth to me.
Best of luck with your curse.
Thank you.
Kind of drops it in a box. Like opens up a little box that he takes from behind the counter and puts it in and tucks it back. And it makes a mark on a piece of paper that's kind of like book replacement or like new books. Supplies for the office.
Rose embezzling that 10 gold, I swear.
I just realized
No, he put all 85 in the same box.
with what Icarus learned that the divine created undead that we were fighting weren't being made by those, like, something affecting those divines that are being transported. What the fuck was draining them? Were they all getting Karsus's avatared? But if all failed? Were they that inefficient with the spell?
I think it was either that the performing the ritual like in like half steps that they were doing was pulling on them, or like sending those undead to them like polluted their tether to the material plane, and so they were just like operating in a fog rather than being able to see properly. They didn't mention like absence of cleric powers. They just mentioned like their god felt distant. correct,
Well, the
Ian?
gods
Yes.
themselves said they felt like they were being.
Yeah, the clerics still had their capabilities. It was just like, hey, something's weird.
But when we talked to the god, like the moon one,
Oh
said
yeah,
that
no, the
she was
gods
feeling
felt it
drained.
more keenly.
Yeah, they felt like they couldn't see. They are. It could just be the way they experience things. I'm pretty sure.
So
And
the
DM can correct me if I'm on the wrong
way
path.
that I kind of picture it with the clerics versus the gods is, have you ever recounted a memory to your parents of when you were a kid, and like a memory of something with your parents when you were young, and your parents were like, "Oh, I was so sick when that happened," and you're like, "What? I don't remember you being sick." It's kind of like that, where the clerics are not fully aware of everything that's going on with the god. So the god is sitting there going, I have the worst migraine, but the cleric doesn't know about it. They're just like, the god's not very talkative today.
Okay. So I got in my notes that Sehanine said she was getting her strength drained when we were fighting those things.
She did say that. And isn't that interesting?
So that part's still not explained. Unless they were all getting avatared and the rule's just that fucking bad at being a bad wizard. Being an evil
Or there's a
wizard.
piece you haven't figured out yet. You don't know. You have basically, Icarus, you have acquired a book called On the Nature of Curses. So you can put that in your inventory,
All right.
because it is yours forever now. You get to peel the little library sticker off of it. We all know the one. All right. What next, friends?
My Naame book, please.
Okay.
No. I burn it.
You. Tess.
No. No.
Tess, are you
I guess
actively?
Moonbeam.
Are you actively like climbing on Rex's head, trying to prevent him, or are you clowning?
He's clowning.
I could see it going either way with Tess. With Tess being like,
No.
"I'm bored. I want to leave the library."
No. His
Listen.
PvP character's last campaign lived.
It wouldn't be much PvP. It would just be Tess, or it would be Rex picking Tess up off of his
Anyway.
head and depositing him onto Sister, or her onto Sister. Jesus.
The bit is done.
No, it's still going. It never stops.
The dead horse is glue. If you do it any longer, it's going to be a glue stick in a kindergarten room. Let's move
Alright,
on.
Alex. it.
Unfortunate.
Just
They're
Rex
gonna
it.
chew on it.
The book on the moon.
Yeah, you find the book on the moon. There we go. Thank God.
Naame by name.
Yeah.
What do I... Is there any new information I glean from it?
A lot of it feels like poetic stuff. It's a book about the sun and the moon, because they are kind of, they're very much painted in myth and legend as intertwined forces. Gee, I wonder why. So the moon is representative of stability, constancy, and balance. She is very connected with druid groves that commit to Circle of the Moon. She does seem to favor some that have particularly strong moon druids, though whether that is, with your experience, you wonder whether that is because she picked them because they were hers, and that made them strong, or whether they became strong and she said, ooh, I like that one.
I would like to go down the rabbit hole of being chosen of the moon, children of Neame, whatever the phrasing is.
So there's not a lot of stuff in the book about actual children of Neame. It's just that you see that she's ever watchful over the druid groves, but she does seem to have higher connections to druid groves that have a lot of moon druids. And then there are some that she seems to favor amongst that smaller circle even more so. You, with your personal knowledge, wonder if that is exclusively because those circles have children of the moon, or if some of them are, holy shit, that grove's got a level 20 moon druid, I'm gonna pat them on the head. Does that make sense?
Yes, and it's also not satisfying enough for him.
You do also see mentions of connections with the creator gods of Corellon, Mask, Sehanine, and the Raven Queen.
One more time, I was not prepared to write down the list that you said. Corellon,
Mask,
Sehanine,
Mask,
Corellon,
poor guy.
Mask,
yes,
Sehanine, and the Raven Queen.
That they all seem to have some sort of connection with the moon.
Does it go into any detail?
I mean, you notice that for some of them, like Sehanine,
The Moonweaver's pretty obvious.
it's talking about speculation of, which came first, the chicken or the egg, which came first, the moon or the Moonweaver. And at the end, it's most of the prevailing theory is that okay, so if the phrase is the moon or the moon weaver, then that would be the chicken or the egg. So the prevailing theory is that the egg, the moon weaver, came first. But there are some that speculate that the moon was the original source of power for these connected deities.
Whether it's true or not, Rex believes that Neame is much older than the gods and must have predated Sehanine, as he is. But he also realizes
like it's
this
all of those, but it kind of comes out of that phrase of, somebody writing in this book of like, which came first, the moon or the Moonweaver, and it's like, the prevailing theory is that the creator gods came first. Of course they did, and they created the sun and they created the moon, but there are some people that think it might be the other way around.
Gotcha. Can I go to one of the attendants and see if they have anything like in a restricted section on like old texts about the Moonweaver, or not Moonweaver, sorry, Neame the Moon? Their propaganda is getting to me.
Asking about the egg. I won't ask about the chicken.
I'm
trying to think of whether
hang on, before we move on, what are the connections of like Corellon, Mask, and the Raven Queen? Because I feel like those are the important ones to understand. Because like,
let me pull up their
Mask,
real quick.
I guess, is like patron of thieves and works in the night, but Corellon's like storm god, and the Raven Queen is the goddess
Corellon,
of death.
the Archheart? You're
Yeah,
thinking
and
of
he, like-
Cord is the Stormlord.
That's it. That's why I'm.
Cord is the Stormlord. Corellon is the Fey guy. So here's their
Okay,
the
that
other
one makes
three
sense then.
profiles real quick. So Corellon the Archheart is the guardian of spring, beauty, and the arts, and the patron of arcane magic and the Fey. He was inspired to wander the twisted lands, seeding them with the first arcane magics and raising the most ancient of forests. It was by his hand that the first elves were created. Those who seek all art in all their work, whether magical or mundane, often worship at the altar of Corellon.
Gotcha.
They loathe the Spider Queen and her priestesses for leading the Drow astray. They watch the business of mortals and gods from within the palace of the Crescent Grove in the beautiful realm of Arborea, surrounded by towering white trees and pillars of marble. Most modern tapestries and tomes depict the Archheart as an elven being of impossible grace and beauty, androgynous and alluring, framed by long, wavy, golden hair.
I'm I kind of figured with the elves and they're like moon-centered, like whatever.
Yeah.
The Raven Queen is also one I'd like to know. Why she's tied to the moon.
Master of the skein of fate and the mistress of winter, the Raven Queen is the god of death. Her gaze follows and marks the end of each mortal life, watching over the border between life and death, and ensuring the natural transition is undefiled. Many funerals ask her blessing to protect the deceased from the terrible curse of undeath. She tugs the threads of fate from her stronghold of black ice within the frozen realm of Latherna in the Shadowfell. Few existing visual depictions of the Raven Queen exist. Many temples merely use the raven as a symbol of her blessing, but the few illustrations portray her as a tall, pale woman wrapped in dangling black linens, with her face obscured by a white porcelain mask and her onyx black hair straight and never-ending.
So I didn't hear the connection to the moon in there.
It could be just mythological things. You're not entirely sure. So here's something that I am trying to have with books is even in scholarly texts, some things are going to be supposition.
Okay.
So
What
not
is it- what is
everything
their-
is
What is the
necessarily...
point where when I read in the book that they were tied to it, what was their point? Just that, like, a single line of sentence that, like,
Yeah, that it's
some
like,
deities
oh,
seem to be tied,
Yeah.
like, okay.
Or they seem to be depicted often with the moon, different things like
Gotcha.
that, where it's like, they just kind of
Okay.
seem related.
Gotcha. Then I will continue on to the restricted section and try and
So
speak to
there
the-
is no restricted section in this library. That would be in Dataris.
You're kidding.
Nope.
You can't hear me heavy breathing.
I can.
You should feel it.
Shred.
I like to imagine Rex goes to ask about the restricted section, like, oh no, that's in Taurus.
They're like,
He
what
just
restricted
stares at
section?
him.
We don't have one here. We don't have that here. This is a state school. You gotta go to the private school for that.
He just glares at them. Unable to find the words.
He's
It's
just,
amazing.
you know when alligators do that thing where they just have their mouths open really, really wide?
Hmm
Rex just has his mouth open really, really wide, like he wants to put their head in it.
That's the look Rex is dropping on him.
Like, this is, you've at this point kind of found, like, one of the students, and they're like, listen, man, I don't know what to tell you, it's not here. Like, I may be
Your
a
princess
conjuration
is in another
student, but I
castle.
can't just, like, make it appear.
Get her, man.
I can't just, like, I can't just conjure up a restricted section of books that doesn't exist.
All right. Thank
Like,
you.
Sorry.
You're good. You're good.
Hey man, maybe you should take a break. Finals are not everything.
I'm not a fucking. Walk away.
Shh.
Walk away. Walk away.
You
Dear
do
Cheryl.
get the shishes from several other people in the
away.
library as your voice raises.
Walk away.
Sir, you came over here.
Mhm.
You're at the
A faint
reference
flare in
desk.
his eyes. He contemplates for a moment, wild shaping into a badger and going fucking ham on the books. Then he takes a breath and walks away.
He's like, I will not commit the Library of Alexandria in Liv's world.
Yet.
Tempting as it would be.
Well, they don't have a restricted section here, so what all are they losing?
I mean, listen,
Pause.
not everywhere is gonna have a restricted section. Everywhere is gonna have, like, a generic section. But restricted is gonna be a bit more
I
specialty.
would like to look at the staff list. I want to find a professor
Of
as close to whoever I think would be the closest to knowing something about Naomi. If there is a
So right now what I made for NPCs, because I didn't know what kind of people y'all would be looking for is I have a name, I have a gender, and I have what D&D race they are, and I said, you know what, I'm just gonna kind of pick one. When they're like, we're looking for this person, I'll just say, okay, it's this one. So
I'm
tell me
looking for a
what
professor.
of what. Pick something.
Whatever, as specific as I can get. You tell me where the limit of specificity can be. Is there a professor of moononomics here, or do I have to go all the way back to like professor of
It's
celestial bodies, or
It's the mounts all over again. He's gonna get in the minutia.
No,
I
this is
am.
when he went to the botany class at Isolon and he made me figure out what they were teaching in the botany class when I majored in musical
Please.
theater. It's
I'm
Pride
begging.
Month.
and I'll be
No.
homophobic if I want. It is my right.
Alright, hold
no,
on.
it is not.
Roll me a
You
D9
really are committed to this
pick.
white
Oh no,
boy summer
D8.
bit, huh?
Sorry, roll me a
I will
D8 to
steal
pick which
you.
one it is.
Say that again, Liv.
Roll me a D8 to pick which of the NPCs it is. Off of my list.
5.
Alright, 1 second.
It's also
Let me
the
resort my
Githzerai.
list
I'm
with the
jumping out a
ones that
window.
It's not another Githzerai. There's only one Githzerai.
No,
And
I
that's-
thought he was on the list. I thought.
No, I already
I'm glad to
removed
go
him from
here.
the list. Alright, 1,
Mm.
2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. You know what? It's like a fucking celestial bodies and astronomy professor. They are a green tiefling named
Ooh.
Arthos.
Knock, knock, knock to his office door.
Come in.
Are you Arthos?
That's what it says on the plaque on the desk. They just kind of gesture to a plaque that says Arthos.
I have some questions concerning some celestial bodies, and the library was lacking on some material, and I was hoping you could help me understand a little more.
Okay, what section are you in?
I'm not enrolled in one of your classes.
Okay, that probably explains why the library doesn't have shit. Because they should have everything for my classes. Okay. Just a pursuant of knowledge in general, then?
Yes. There's a topic that's of particular interest to me, of, we'll call it cultural and familial interest, that I am trying to get to the bottom of.
Alright.
It concerns the moon, Naame. And,
Okay, then yeah, you came to the right professor. That would be me. Yep.
I'll come in and have a seat. We'll say for humor's sake, can Sister have watched the puppies instead of me having them in their office?
Would Sister have watched the puppies? Or would Sister have made...
Would you like Harka to watch the puppies?
Mm-mm. Said like them back, you Cruella de Vil motherfucker.
Harka watches the puppies. Tess watches Harka.
Harka knows better.
Anyway, Sister, you're muted, Shane. Oh, he did say BRB and he never said back, so.
Well, we'll figure that out later.
Somebody's watching. If all else fails, I'll give the 3 to Tess, and she can wrangle all 4.
They're just running all over me.
They're dragging you through the hallways. I found an old temple to Naame near. Welcome back. You're on puppy duty.
Okay. They're in the basket.
Okay. I found an old temple to Naame and found some connections to her, to myself, and I was hoping I could learn more about the children of Naame or the chosen of them. Sources seem to be very thin and sparse. I try and find it.
Well, that is an interesting query. Sources are pretty sparse. Not too terribly much is known about them. There's a couple primary theories, the first of which being that they're manifestations of the moon's power and influence on Telmora itself, meaning that they were just, like, no father, no mother, just straight up, created on
Rex-
Telmora
Rex
by the
gulps.
moon's energy. My brain keeps saying parthenogenesis, but I'm not sure if that's the right word. That's Olivia talking out of character, not the professor. Just spontaneous creation. The other one is that the moon will see potential in the thread of someone's fate, sometime along when it's being woven into the tapestry of existence, and just kind of, intertwine her power because she sees some sort of potential in them. There's another one where it's sort of she just sees someone and likes them and picks them, more of like literally looks down on Telmora and physically sees them with however she perceives, and just kind of is like, I like that one, I'll do something with that one. But no one really knows for sure because they're not very studied. Not a lot of them going around. Where'd you hear about
In
this?
front of him, I will kind of lace my fingers and like close my eyes and say, Mama, any of those three apply to me?
Well, it's a
You're
bit
the prom night dumpster, baby.
Okay, above game, remind me, has she given you a concrete answer? Has Liv
No,
decided?
she has not.
Okay, let me look and see if I've written anything down.
Rex is, I think he's asked, and she's given him like flowery answers of like, "You are mine," like
Right,
nothing that would like definitively narrow down. Just like, "You are my child,"
got it.
either adoptively or biologically or somehow or another. Just says that yes, I am your mom, but his origins are still kind of unknown to him.
Does the moon
Gets
Well-
drawn by puppies.
I mean, alright, I found my answer. Well, I mean, for you, it was, I mean, the second and third are kind of almost the same thing. Because I sort of, perception for me is weird. I do not perceive in the way that y'all perceive. Like, at all. So to describe how I perceive, and whether it's about the thread or just looking down and perceiving the way y'all see, kind of one and the same.
And the second and third were like,
The second was
see somebody skilled and picks them.
She sees like the thread of someone's, like basically like the thread of fate. And the other one is she literally looks down out of the sky and spots someone with her moon eyes.
Gotcha.
One of
Fair
them
enough.
is just like, this is an ethereal theory, and one of them is, oh, she just sees people. The Santa Claus theory versus the God theory.
Gotcha.
Just the moon from that fucking show. Ugh.
She said, well, in your case, the second and third are basically the same. What else does she say?
She kind of explains why like 2 and 3 are basically the same, because
Here's
the
what-
way that she perceives is kind of not something that's understandable to mortals that can't perceive the way she does.
But which one applies to me? How did I become child of Naomi?
Abduction.
when a mommy moon and a random alligator really like each other?
Well, I mean, you were all, well, how do I explain this?
You were an accident.
Prom night dumpster, baby.
You were there, and you needed me, and so
You made me.
I did what I could.
So, was it the threads of fate thing then? You just
Okay, I already told you. Like, I know this is going to be a sticking point for you, because you have... your sight is very much... It's just that. It's just sight. I don't technically see. It's very difficult to explain. So seeing you the way you see your friends and seeing the threads of fate are not separate things for me. Because technically none of it is sight for me at all. Listen, it is a very strange thing for mortals to comprehend. Because it is not something that mortals can do with the perception that I have.
So I'm not but I can rule out that I'm not a manifestation by you, or...
Oh, no, I didn't. No, I don't do that.
Oh, you don't do that at all?
I mean, I haven't for a while.
But you have previously?
I guess it wasn't exactly like that. Like, I mean,
She is so unhelpful, oh my god.
listen, it was a long time ago, baby. And it wasn't like I decided that I would manifest things. It was more like things just kind of happened.
Are you telling me this bitch sneezes people into existence?
Well, y'all can't hear her, so you don't know.
Well, that obviously wasn't Harka, so. Harka's not a big fan of the gods, but the moon one hasn't really fucked him over yet.
This isn't a moon god!
Is
This
the
is
moon.
also a very vague description, and
She's
Oh,
really
this is-
keen on them.
It's closer to an elemental than a god.
Yeah.
I
Fucking
cannot-
primordial.
yeah.
Actually accidental, babe. She's saying all the right things.
What
Or
is the...
literally, you know.
I mean, like, you
Oh,
know
I
how,
thought I
like,
just had gas and I had a baby.
well, so here's something. So you know how, like, if you're in a very cold place, your body emits heat. You don't tell your body to emit heat, and so if you hold an ice cube in your palm, it will melt. Well, maybe not
Sure.
yours, but if you're oh, you're all scaly. Oh no. If your bird
Did she just
friend,
microaggression me?
well, she realized that all of you are cold-blooded.
Sister's
This is
made of
not-
liquid fire.
That doesn't
That's
count
not
because that's a
fucking
mechanical
creature.
process.
And Icarus is a bird.
Icarus.
Icarus
Birds
is
are
a
not
bird.
cold-blooded. They are
I know, that's why
warm-blooded.
she's using Icarus as an example. She says, well, if your bird friend were to hold an ice cube in his palm, it would melt, so he's not telling his body to exude heat
I'm
or telling
not
it to
cold-blooded,
melt
Mama.
the ice cube. It's just kind of like that.
Oh, I'm not cold-blooded.
You're not?
No.
I don't really know how any of y'all form works. It's just kind of a thing. I don't really have any of that, so I don't know. Y'all deal with your own stuff. Well, if you were to then put an ice
Hold
cube
on.
in your palm, that's kind of how,
Does the
if
moon
I've
think I'm
created
cold-blooded?
something, it's just because the energy is there and it's getting expended, and I'm not telling it to do what for, it's just happening.
Looks up at the sky. I ain't cold-blooded either. I'm technically a mammal.
I hate that that's a thing in Dungeons and Dragons. That's Liv.
I'm really happy we are because our women got boobs, and boobs are awesome.
That I'll agree
Uh,
with.
How is the professor reacting to me
I
having
love
a
being in a
schizo moment?
library.
Are you speaking out loud?
Yeah.
They're just kind of sitting back, watching, because they tried to respond, which you weren't paying attention to. They responded to the first one, but you didn't hear what they said, and so now they've just kind of stopped responding, realizing that you're not listening to them and you're clearly talking to somebody else. They're like, either this bitch does not know how to use the sending spell, they're schizophrenic,
Possible.
or they're doing
My
some
money
other
is-
weird shit, and I'm just gonna sit back and observe.
He'll look up from his little messages with his mom. Oh, sorry. I should have asked to excuse myself before. I was talking to...
No, that was an experience.
So this librarian knows better than to fuck with adventurers. Gotcha.
I would like to ask, I've never seen myself from the outside. Does anything mystical change when I speak to the moon, or...
No.
Oh, you're the second option. Okay. No, nothing happens when you speak to the moon.
I can see that you don't believe me, and if there was
I
a way for me to
don't.
prove it, I would.
At that point, Harko will just kind of lean over and go, "Oh, he is."
You're not here.
We're in the
Yeah,
professor.
he's
This
in the
is
library.
No, this is the
It's the-
professor's office.
Oh, okay.
Harker sprints across the compound at Mach 7 just to lean over and go, "Oh, he is."
He is. It's fucking weird.
Oh,
Really fucking weird.
I mean, listen, it's I like that. Whatever is going on in your head, I like that you're researching it. As a professor, I don't want to discourage the pursuit of knowledge, because then I'd be out of a job, even though I'm tenured. But, good luck, kid. I'm sorry. Unless there's more questions you need to ask. I'm sorry. And they kind of get themselves together and regain their professional facade. They're like, I'm sorry. Truly, is there anything else I can answer for you?
If have people communed with the moon in a conversational way historically?
I mean, it's entirely possible. Most people that talk about communing with the moon usually are talking about the moon weaver that they kind of equate with the moon, because the majority of people conflate the two. Scholars know that they're truly, like, that Sehanine is connected to the moon, but we know that she isn't the moon, specifically. Right. So, we know that she's different, but most lay people, when they're like, oh, I spoke to the moon, they're usually talking to Sehanine. But it could also be very possible that they thought they were talking to Sehanine, but they were talking to Nyame.
You have...
People will tell stories about what they believe. If you grew up your entire life thinking that the color red was called green, people would think you're crazy when you say fire is green, but you technically wouldn't be saying anything wrong. Well, I mean, you would, but...
Well, do you have any good next steps for me trying to... if you haven't figured out, I'm on a bit of a personal journey to understand my connection and meaning to her.
Yeah, most scholars are.
Do you have any suggestions for next places to go? I mean, I infected myself with lycanthropy just to get a little closer, and I would like to do it a little safer in the future, the connecting to her part, and then afflicting myself with various curses.
I mean, my professional recommendation is to never afflict yourself with any curses on purpose, ever.
Well, technically it wasn't afflicted on purpose, I just didn't get rid of it on purpose.
That would be the on purpose part that's bad. I mean, if she does have some force of personality that can be spoken with, I would imagine that it would be accessible much in a similar way that clerics speak to their deities.
But she's so vague. She's so vague. Every time I ask, she gives me like a, well, sort of, kind of answer. Why I'm looking elsewhere.
Well, I mean, if you're trying to get... Well, people will give vague answers. I am not a psychologist. I should really leave this to my colleague, but he talks my ear off enough that I know what it is. People give vague answers for a few different reasons. The first is they don't really know the answer themselves. Could be that they don't feel comfortable enough telling the answer, or they, don't want to share it. It's a private thing, or they can't share it if it's a secret. Something like that. I really don't know what this is. I know there are some times I've had friends that have spoken with gods, and gods are vague entities. Sometimes that's the nature of the gate and the isolation and the their being gods is they're bound by certain rules and strictures that we can't fully comprehend as mortals. So, what we think is, oh, they're avoiding the question, or they won't give me a straight answer. Especially if you're contacting them through a spell, like some of those yes or no question spells, that they're very limited on what or how they can answer. If you're looking for specifics, books are going to be difficult because, again, there's a lot of research that we still haven't done on if there even is a way to differentiate between communications with Neame and communications with Sahanine. So books are probably not going to be your best bet. I would just work on talking, communing, maybe find some answers in your own heart. 'Cause maybe the things you're looking for you'll find on your own. Self-actualization, a sense of purpose. I really don't know what you're looking for. Deeper connection with someone else usually comes from having a good connection with yourself first.
Well, you've given me something to step off on. I appreciate it. Thank you. And he'll get up and leave.
Bye, kid. Stay safe out there.
I'm a grown-ass man, he says to himself. The rest of the group will see Rex come back a little dejected. He looks a little down in the dumps. They're just gonna sit and...
What's the matter?
Went to go speak to a professor and hope to get some answers on the whole Moonchild connection, but I'm kind of where I was when I began, and it's...
What kind of answers are you trying to get?
I don't know. Just want to know more. And tell you the real truth, sister. There was in our conversation, we discussed that sometimes the children of Naame are manifestations of her will or essence. And part of me was a little let down when she said that wasn't me. I was really hoping that I didn't have parents who abandoned me. I was just apparated into existence once, and then I was found by Mama Moon. Everything went on as normal, but I don't know, apparently they were... Still don't know how I ended up in a swamp all by myself, but...
Well, the swamp part probably is just natural habitat.
Microaggression.
My guess is your parents probably died while you were a child and just could never come back to get you.
Well, I'd rather not assume. I'd like to know.
That is a possibility.
Well, you could either assume that they're terrible people who left you behind, or assume that they died or lost you.
But if they died, how did I not get killed by the same thing?
I know for a fact that I don't take my child out hunting with me when I go hunting for food.
So how the hell did I end up in the wilds?
People live out there.
Not in
A
these swamps.
lot of people live out there.
I live in those swamps. There's no settlements or nothing.
And have you never heard of the wild people, or the travelers, or
That's me.
the
I'm
countless...
the wild people.
Exactly.
Like,
your family lived out there,
I don't know.
or they were traveling through there, and something unfortunate befell them.
But it can't be
Why am I
coincidence.
the one who's trying to cheer this dumb shit up?
But it can't. It can't be coincidence that there's that ruined nature temple in the swamps that I happen to be found at and protected in.
It might be.
Rex, there was a time in my past where I found a child that had survived a creature's attack. The mother did not. I was able to safely get that child back home. And, well, that was one of the people of Cressa. It can happen.
The
Probably
child,
happens quite often. We
that
do
child
live in
wouldn't
a
have happened
very
to have been a
dangerous
lizard folk,
world.
would it?
What?
That child wouldn't have happened to have been a lizard folk or nothing, would it?
No, it
Oh,
was Soph, the child. You probably weren't paying attention. The family that I visited before we left, it was the youngest of that family.
Right.
Baby.
I'd still like to know. I know it doesn't define who I am by where I came from, but still want to know.
I don't
You know?
blame you for wanting to know, but you shouldn't let it dissuade you or sadden you that you don't get to know right away. Things come in time. There's plenty of things that I would like to know too, but you're not always going to get the answers right away. Besides, Naomi probably has plenty going on to where she might not even know what happened to you before she saw you. Just that when she did see you, she wanted to help you, and thankfully she did, because you're here now.
Mm-hmm. I'm sure I'll bounce back after night's sleep. I'm just a little disappointed. I'll be fine though. He does seem to genuinely mean it. He doesn't seem to be like trying to mask his feelings or anything. He seems to genuinely mean that he's just in a bad mood now. He'll be fine going forward, but he does not seem like he's given up on his goal.
All right. Well.
Oh, one last thing. I wanted to grab a book of how to care for animals and bring it to Tess.
Easy enough.
How much would it cost to get this book and take it with us?
For this one, which is going to be especially because I would imagine that you're getting a kids booklet of animal care for kids type book.
I mean, an adult book, a
How to
chapter
care
book.
for your dire wolf that you stole.
Adopted,
theft.
thank you.
I wonder if that situation could shed any light onto some recent circumstances people have been wondering about.
You implying that Naomi killed my parents, then adopted me?
No.
Okay.
Moonbeam.
Oh shit, they had a cub. Well, he's kind of cute. I'll raise him.
I would say for that kind of, it's gonna be easy enough to replace. It would be the equivalent of what they would sell exotic pets at PetSmart kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
I'll say 15 gold.
Okay. I'll knock it off. Alright. I will buy it and bring it up to Tess and knock, knock, knock on the table of whatever she's reading. Tess, I got something for you. Earth to Tess. Earth to Tess.
I forgot I was muted. Hey!
Mhm. I got this for you. And I set the book down in front of her and sit next to her too. I noticed you took a particular interest with the dire wolf pup. And I wanted you to, speaking of somebody who has been an animal many times, it's important to take care of them because they can't always, to most people, they can't talk to us the way they do normal people. I am the exception, but if you're going to be taking care of this pup, I may not be around all the time to act as a middleman for what they want. It's not that I think you're irresponsible or nothing. Have you ever owned a pet before? Have you cared for an animal like this?
Just remember, she's
No.
older than all of us.
That's why I asked.
I wasn't allowed to keep one.
Well, now you do.
Ah,
This book, I've skimmed through it. It's got basic information on taking care of dogs. It'll mostly apply to dire wolves, and if you have any questions, I can fill in the gaps. But I encourage you to try and bond with this animal. They are forming a bond with creatures like this is how I grew up. It is second nature to me to care for them. If you need any help, I will happily. But one thing I won't stand is mistreating them. So there are responsibilities that come with it. There's a reason that as soon as we get within range, I'm sending the 3 I'm carrying back to the Grove to stay with
Rex.
Lieutenant Hornfrog and
I-
my sanctuary. But
And I understand that, but can you not talk down to me like that?
I'm not trying to talk down to you.
I mean,
I'm not.
I get it. Just because I haven't had a pet before, I kind of know how these work.
This is something
It-
very precious to me. Is all.
Okay.
I did not mean to talk down to you like you didn't know anything, but
In case you didn't know anything.
In case you didn't know anything.
it's very different when you can speak to animals and you see them get mistreated. There's something deep within me that doesn't like seeing animals in pain or suffering. And
We blew goats' heads off like the first
well,
week we were running around.
I tried to convince them not to. They didn't listen. That's a natural selection.
We
Love what an impression the Goat Mafia made on you all.
I'm sure they'll show up again. I just want to give you the tools to succeed, Tess. And extend a hand out to help you where you need it. I think, without sounding too judgmental, knowing what you've gone through, I think a little companion like this would be good for you. And
Yeah.
I want to give you the tools to succeed with it. Give her a big old gator smile, molars and all. So, that's about all. But whenever we do get within a 50-mile radius of the Grove, your pup will need to say goodbye to its siblings for a time. Because puppies are a lot, and I cannot take care of 3 of them right now. And the Grove was set up to... there's a nursery inside my sanctuary that they can live in. As soon as they get on solid foods, I can send them on their way. I got magic that'll help guide them there.
Now, I have very important in canon questions.
Yeah.
That you need to answer.
Okay.
What are their names?
I haven't named them yet.
Gotta do it. Name them. Name your son.
I mean, Tez might have a name, but Rex is not
1,
named
2,
these
3,
yet.
and 4.
1, 2, 3, and 5.
We don't talk about Chanel number 4. I would say as you're starting to go to bed that night, like just kind of winding down in your rented little like guest quarters in the tower.
So Tess will sit on sit on the bed and unwrap the puppy Rito from the blanket. Like, there any discerning features on the Doge?
I'll let you decide that.
You got it a little bit now.
I'll let you decide that.
Pupper. Put me on the spot here.
Okay, I'll
while
find
he's-
some pictures.
While he's thinking, I did want to cast Speak with Animals and speak to Tess's direwolf pup.
Okay.
Preferably, like, not really in Tess's earshot, because the questions are concerning her, but
Yeah.
I wanted to ask it.
Chris,
I'll find
how
some
do you get
pictures
the
and I'll-
dog away from me?
Good question. Do you ever go?
Just
Do you go to the
testing.
bathroom with
I
it?
was just about to ask.
Yeah. It
Okay.
it goes with me everywhere.
I mean,
Be
so
fair.
technically when you're speaking with animals, I'll just post 4 pictures and I'll let you guys decide who has which puppies. When you're speaking with animals, you are speaking in their language, because I think that's more fun than you speak common. And there's 2.
That's the dog, baby. That's the dog.
Inexplicably, that first one is the look I imagine Shane makes like near constantly at us.
Oh, absolutely. I'm also
Like,
trying to
through
find
the
the, like,
eyelids,
the right
scowl.
stage of puppy. Like, yes, there is another one.
There is also technically the fact that Rex has to nurse them at the moment because there's no way we can buy milk yet.
I told you
You're
you
saying
could
my
turn
dog.
into a female direwolf. I had you turn into a female direwolf last game. If you
That's what I mean. That's what I mean. Like,
Yeah.
we haven't
Yes.
bought goat milk. I still have to wild shape to nurse them.
All right, so
you can talk to
in
them
lieu-
without expending a spell slot in wild shape. I think it's stupid to have to
Sure.
do otherwise.
I mean, it was ritual cast anyway, so.
Actually, I'm getting rid of this one. I found a better one for that sort of
So,
coloration.
so
You didn't like that one,
important
guys.
question here. Who's impregnating Wolf Rex to make her make milk?
Horka,
No.
Icarus.
No.
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 That shit doesn't.
Icarus can
just
say he's
happen.
married. Horka, you really gonna let these puppies down?
Yes.
First off, Harker's the one who advocated for killing them anyway.
Yeah, I know. The actual canon reason is that Rex knew, like, the wild shapes he turned into are mostly creatures he knew. He remembers a nesting direwolf mother in the swamp.
All right. So counterpoint to him trying to nurse my dog, I'm going to go to whatever passes for a god-given cafeteria here, and I'm going to find the milk.
Yeah, you can get milk.
And God help any person who tries to stop.
No, you can get. They will.
Where's
they'll let
Kronk?
you take milk out. Listen, I found ways in college to take milk out of that dining hall. You can find ways to take milk out of the dining hall.
Yeah.
There we
Yeah,
go. There's number 4.
I get the milk. I
Toasted
get it
marshmallow.
Oh
warm.
my god.
Oh my goodness, my boy.
Y'all decide
kind of-
which who has who.
I think
And then
Tyler
look
decided
like
on number
he's-
4
subs.
immediately.
He's giving him the rock eyebrow. That is my son.
Yep, and there's number
Uh,
4. Chess. I'll take the other 3.
I will add them to important NPCs once you've named them.
Ah,
Looking at this this energetic doge.
Doge.
You looked up wolf
Mm.
dog hybrids, didn't you, Liv?
Huh?
Did you look up wolf dog hybrids?
I looked up direwolf puppies, and I was kind of hoping it would pull up D&D stuff, but it pulled up actual dogs, and that's better. I think there's like a shelter that does like wolf dog pups, and it's called direwolf dogs.
Mm-hmm.
I also avoided the picture of 3 of them that was very clearly from Game of Thrones, and I said no, thank you.
you know what? I know what this thing's name's gonna be.
Say it.
I'm not. It's not what you think.
Oh.
If
sad.
you found like a Snow White dog, maybe. But
All right, so he's like golden brownish. He's like
The perfect
Ah.
shade of toasted marshmallow.
yeah, kind of like corn. But I don't want to get copyrighted by people who sell the corn, so I'm gonna make it a K. It's corn with a K.
Yeah.
K.
I will slaughter you where you stand.
I'm
Naming your
naming
dog Corn after my
What?
corn-loving dog has not seen me in a year.
corn with a K.
K-O-R-N, like
band?
the band.
Yeah, yeah.
Very
Alright.
original.
Yeah, and unlike other people in other universes, I'm going to keep this one.
I'm gonna kick your fucking arse.
I've seen you. You can't touch me.
I make tools for that kind of job.
There we go. There's corn.
I'm corn.
Alright, name the other 3.
I'll
I
get
don't
to
gonna
you.
name those.
I'll get back to you.
I don't
I don't give
think
a
this
sh-
is very important.
I don't give a shit about those ones. This is I only give a shit about corn.
I'll get back to you, Liv.
Fine. Nobody else wants to name any of them? Icarus doesn't want to name any of them?
Motherfucker, I'm taking care of them. I've got ruminations and names. They'll come eventually.
This one's
Can I
name is
ask
corn.
Tess's puppy the thing?
Yes, go ahead. Tess will hear
Sure,
you
talk to
yipping at her pup.
Yeah.
I yip at the pup. Hey. You there. Corn, I think she's named you.
Yeah.
How you feeling, bub?
I'm good.
Do you want to travel with Tess? That's the little fella who's been keeping you wrapped up.
Bella.
Yeah. She's nice. He's like
I
wagging his little
fucking hate
tail.
all of this.
But
Cool.
like, it's the butt wiggle.
Mhm.
yeah.
Are you okay knowing that your siblings aren't gonna stick around forever? They're gonna be living back in my grove?
Like right now.
No, when they learn to walk and we get close enough, I'll deliver them safely. But then they are, and you are, little folk.
Like
Nice.
right now.
No, later.
Oh my god,
When's
corn's
later?
corn's a gumball.
Liv, I'd like to make a request.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Can I roll a d20 to see how smart Corn actually is?
Please.
How smart he'll turn out to be when he's grown? Sure.
Minus 19.
Okay. Let's
you're
see
just
how
cloning
smart
him.
is this
Alright.
dog.
I want
Come
Shane to roll.
on, Shane, roll for me. Give me your power of the 2. Ah,
11.
11.
But
they're
Now let's check
together,
it against
see.
direwolf stats.
Pretty intelligent for a direwolf.
Yeah, it's
Smart
very
for-
intelligent for a direwolf.
This is my son.
you're gonna
He's
learn
a-
tricks real easily.
He's a fucking
Yeah,
genius.
normal direwolves have a 3. That means
Yeah.
with an 11, they know how to speak.
Yes.
Bork.
So,
Too bad he doesn't have the equipment to speak.
well, there's this
Other
funny little
than-
spell on the druid list when I get 5th
Wait.
level. Uh-huh.
Well, I could technically have it now.
Oh,
Hey,
fuck, you don't have
boss!
it. No. My hand would not go, would
I'm
go
kidding.
so fast.
I'm kidding.
Right now,
I'm kidding.
Corn is very much like a toddler. So you know how toddlers are not good at the concept of later.
He'll just kind of nod, and you get better, or you get him. Okay. Be sure to listen to her. She'll take care of you.
Okay.
And I'll go back to nursing.
Okay.
And when I'm done, when I go back to human form, I'll.
You
go
hear
past.
one of them looking at the other one. I'll say one of them. This is actually really funny. I'll say one of them is looking at Corn, and you hear the video I posted earlier with the "Please don't sit like a weirdo."
Oh,
Please don't.
Corn
Oh, not again.
Yes.
And you just see
Corn
Corn
sits
doing
like a
that
dejected
really
hippo.
weird, like when puppies are sitting in in those positions, and you're like, that can't be comfortable.
What they are.
To the puppies.
When I go back to humanoid form, I will tell Tess. I spoke to Corn for you. He's very excited to be traveling with you. And I let him know what your name is and what his name is.
Uh-huh.
He's
Well,
very excited to travel with you.
I already knew all that. A mother knows best.
This is after dinner. Corn is passed out in Tess's lap.
This is my baby. Look at that fat belly.
Full of soup.
Full of
We'll say. They, if nothing else, it's helped speed along the process of Corn figuring out when to come when you call for him.
What would happen if I have an idea.
Mm-hmm.
Give me a vial of dragon blood.
No,
I want him to grow up big and strong.
that's not how that works.
I'm gonna dilute it. Hey, this is D&D.
Nope.
It depends on the dice roll. He'll
He'll either explode or he'll grow up strong with dragon breath. Who knows?
That's tough. Sorry. Denied. This is corrupted dragon blood. You ain't feeding that shit to your puppy.
Well, guess they'll just have to have.
Oh, no, I did
ambulance.
uncorrupt it. Never mind.
give. Let me.
Maybe. Maybe. Let's see how you react to them. Puppies are a lot, even if they can't breathe fire. I might give you some, and we might need it for something else.
That might
Don't
be.
mind me,
That
I'm
might
just
have to be
opening
the
up-
episode title.
I'm just opening up Tessa's hoard and seeing what monster parts I can feed this thing.
Don't
When he's-
feed it cannot have solid foods yet. Do not feed it monster parts.
Eventually, Tess just pulls out the Rumrat's heart. Well, time to test some alchemy.
Yes.
Tess is an
Not
honorary
how it
member.
works.
Tess is an honorary member of Clan Boulder Shade. Just like, well, what if I wanted the puppy to have a Rimmer's heart?
Delicious in dungeon.
Well, I've according to recent episodes, maybe.
And that's all I have for now.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good giving Rex a heart attack.
All right. Anything else anyone wants to do before we wrap up this night of adventure?
Nope.
All right.
No.
Then I will leave you for the coming week to ponder not only the names of the other 3 puppies, but also what y'all are doing next. And where
name
next
one.
you are headed. Which means, for ease of you guys possibly
World
coming
map.
in the next week, I put you back on map.
Can we name one Rex with 3 X's just to fuck with?
And I will see y'all next time.